All right, so today we're doing something pretty interesting.
Yeah.
We've got this fascinating collection of stuff about the artist Bob Camblin.
Right.
And, it's a real mix,
Yeah.
direct quotes. We've got some, straight up biographical details, reflections from books.
Mhm.
There's even a YouTube video where someone's, analyzing one of his paintings.
Oh, wow.
It's really a kind of wonderfully rich set of perspectives on this guy.
Yeah, definitely.
So I guess our mission today is to kind of explore all these different facets and see if we can get to the heart of,
Mm.
Camblin's artistic thinking.
Yeah, like what makes him tick?
Exactly.
Right.
And then also try to trace these recurring ideas, in his work,
Absolutely.
which can be a little bit elusive sometimes.
Oh, for sure.
But yeah, we want to try to do that and hopefully bring out those moments of real insight.
Yeah, those aha moments.
Exactly, without getting too bogged down,
Right. We don't want to bore anyone.
Keep it fun and interesting.
So,
So,
Camblin. I mean, he really is.
yeah,
You know,
he's something else, right?
yeah, he stands out as this iconoclastic and enigmatic figure.
Totally.
Born in 1928. And, he passed away just last December.
Yeah.
And his connections to Houston's art scene
Huge.
were strong.
Yeah.
But his actual artistic output,
Yeah.
it's
all over the place.
encompassing everything, from oils and acrylics to watercolors and drawings and prints and painted paper.
Wow, yeah.
It's both substantial
Yeah.
and, as you said, kind of out of reach, which just adds to that mystique.
Definitely, it's there's so much there,
Mm-hmm.
but it's hard to grasp sometimes.
Exactly.
Okay, so let's start, way back,
Okay.
early life kind of stuff. So from what I gather,
Yeah.
it seems like his early life, in Ponca City, Oklahoma,
Right.
during that whole Marlin oil boom thing.
Oh, yeah?
It was steeped in art right from the get-go.
Well, he had artist Terrence.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, so that's a big influence, obviously.
Oh.
It's huge.
And even, as a high schooler, he was the art director for his yearbook.
Oh, wow, that's interesting.
It's like he was destined for this path or something.
It really seems that way.
But it's interesting, to consider
Yeah.
how his environment, really shaped him.
Mm-hmm.
Because he grew up
Right.
amidst this crazy rise and fall
Yeah.
of the Marland estate, right?
Oh, the Marlin estate.
This big, grand symbol of wealth and ambition.
Oh, absolutely.
And that must have left some kind of significant mark on him.
Imagine being surrounded by that.
Yeah, like that kind of opulence and then seeing it decline.
Right. And the whole story behind it,
And then there's the Pioneer Woman statue,
Oh, yes.
which Marlin commissioned.
Right.
And that's interesting because it kind of reappears
It does.
in his later work as VV,
Oh, right, as VV.
which was a personal reference to his mother.
That's right.
So it's like, these big public art pieces
Yeah.
can be absorbed and transformed into a personal artistic language. Absolutely. And it's fascinating to see how he does that.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Like taking something so grand and making it intimate.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
it wasn't just the oil boom and,
Right.
local landmarks.
Uh-huh.
Apparently, The Wizard of Oz had a huge impact on him.
Oh, really?
Yeah, on his imagination as a young kid.
That's interesting.
It almost feels like a fairy tale influence.
It does, yeah.
But I can see how that early sense of the fantastical might have stayed with him,
Oh, definitely.
throughout his career.
Yeah, those early visual and cultural touchstones.
Yeah.
They become part of an artist's,
The DNA.
their internal world.
Yeah.
Yeah, their unique visual vocabulary.
Right.
And we also see, the importance of those early relationships.
Mm-hmm.
Like his friendship with Forrest Harrisberger from high school.
Oh, yeah.
And that connection continued
Through so many things.
right through their military service in the Korean War.
Wow.
And then to the Kansas City Art Institute, KCAI. Yeah. This shared journey.
It's amazing.
And alongside that, Camblin's deep engagement with literature.
Oh, yeah, he was a big reader.
Huge reader. Emerson the I Ching.
Wow.
And the concise beauty of haiku and haiga.
Right.
All of that really started to define his artistic path.
Haiga, now, for those who don't know,
Yeah.
that's the Japanese art form that combines painting
Right.
with haiku poetry.
Yeah.
Known for its elegant simplicity.
Absolutely.
So it's fascinating to see that early connection
Yeah.
with such a distilled form of expression.
it really hints at an early inclination
Mm-hmm.
towards capturing those profound observations
Yeah.
with minimal but really evocative means.
Yeah, it's about like
Yeah.
getting to the essence, right? With just
Exactly.
a few brush strokes or,
Yeah.
a few words.
Right.
And then, of course, there's the Fulbright scholarship to Italy,
Oh, yeah.
which was,
A huge turning point.
it sounds like it was a truly transformative period. His exposure to the masterpieces in the Uffizi Gallery, and then that somewhat, macabre experience of the Capuchin catacombs in Palermo.
Oh, wow. Yeah,
Those clearly left a lasting impression.
definitely.
You can see it, manifesting in that recurring mummy imagery he talks about later.
Right. It's like those images just stuck with
Yeah,
him.
it's powerful stuff.
Yeah. Italy can be such a profound experience for an artist.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, you mentioned Botticelli.
Yeah.
His Birth of Venus
Right.
was a significant inspiration for Camblin.
And what's really cool is
Yeah.
that in his own interpretation of that,
Mm-hmm.
he included a little tribute to Houston's KPFT radio.
Oh, wow, really?
Yeah, it's like this very specific, almost hidden layer of meaning.
Yeah, like a secret message.
It really shows how artists, synthesize these seemingly
Yeah.
disparate influences.
Yeah, it's like taking something so iconic, like Botticelli's depiction of love and beauty,
Right.
as these powerful driving forces.
Yeah.
And then combining it with this reference to KPFT,
Oh,
a
okay.
Houston radio station,
Yeah.
known for its independent and often unconventional programming.
It's like connecting those fundamental human drives
Right.
to the power of community and alternative voices.
Exactly. It's subtle but profound.
Yeah, it's really...
This layering of meaning.
And his engagement with Botticelli didn't stop there.
Oh, no.
Primavera also played a role.
Of course.
And Camblin's unique take on Flora
Yeah.
is just filled with all this hidden imagery.
Really.
Hearts, electrons, even echoes of Haiga.
It's like his canvases are these intricate puzzles.
Totally.
Just waiting for you to explore and decipher them.
Yeah, you could spend hours just looking
Oh, absolutely.
and finding new things.
Yeah.
Now, before we get into his more nomadic period, he also spent quite a bit of time teaching
He did.
at various institutions, right?
Yes.
Eventually joining Rice University here in Houston.
That's right.
So it seems like he was navigating both the academic and artistic spheres for a while.
Yeah, and that period of teaching, likely played a role in shaping his own artistic philosophy,
Oh, for sure.
especially his move away from traditional art criticism
Yeah.
and the whole commercial aspect of the art world.
Yeah.
One of the quotes you shared really stood out to me.
Yeah.
It says, "Art is not just images. Art for art's sake has become art for life's sake, or art for my sake, or art for survival's sake."
Powerful stuff.
Right? It really encapsulates that shift
Yeah.
towards a more personal and maybe even existential understanding of art.
And this is where things get really interesting.
Okay.
Because he makes this deliberate departure
Right.
from the established art scene.
He does.
And his Muchas Volantes period emerges
Oh, yes.
in the 1970s.
The 1970s.
This was inspired by Dada and surrealism.
Of course.
And he's utilizing dots and dashes
Right.
to create these shimmering optical illusions.
It's quite a technique.
And his collaborations under the names B&E Productions and The Holding Firm
Yeah.
with Earl Staley and Joe Tate.
Those were interesting times.
The emphasis on the collaborative process and even signing works as anonymous
Right.
really stands out.
Oh, absolutely.
So for those who maybe need a refresher,
Yeah.
Dada and surrealism, those were early 20th century art movements
Right.
that really challenged traditional norms.
They really shook things up.
Yeah. Dada was known for its anti-establishment stance and embracing absurdity,
Oh, yeah.
while surrealism delved into the world of dreams and the subconscious.
Right. Tapping into those hidden depths.
You just stack
So what's fascinating here is that deliberate downplaying of the individual ego,
Right.
signing as anonymous or anonymous artists.
It's like a direct challenge to that traditional emphasis on the singular artistic genius.
Right. It's not about the individual.
It's about the idea
Exactly.
and the collective act of creation rather than, individual recognition.
It's about the art itself,
Right.
not the artist's name.
And then the Muchas Volantes technique itself,
Yeah.
those shifting optical illusions.
It's a direct dialogue with artists like Escher and Dali.
Oh, yeah.
It's like he's actively engaging your perception as the viewer.
Right.
The meaning isn't just presented.
Yeah, you have to work for it.
It arises through your own visual experience.
And it wasn't just about the dots and dashes.
Right.
He also produced the Big Al series.
Oh, yes.
And Descent from the Cross, which shows a real range in both technique and, symbolic storytelling.
Absolutely.
So he wasn't afraid to experiment.
No, not at all.
But despite all these stylistic shifts,
Right.
there's this consistent thread
There is.
of art as a form of inquiry. There's this review we have that discusses the art of everything.
Oh, yeah?
And it describes his drawings as paradoxes made visible.
I love that.
And it really highlights this view of art as questions disguised as images. It's essentially a dialogue between art and philosophy.
It's like he's using visual language to explore these big philosophical questions.
And even seemingly ordinary objects,
like
the figure 4 trap or tattooed arms or even frogs, become imbued with all these layers of symbolism.
Yeah, he sees meaning in everything.
So we've got illusion, traps, stillness.
Right.
These are some of the recurring themes that you've identified.
Yeah, and it's not just about the visual representation.
Right.
It's about delving into those fundamental paradoxes of human existence.
Like what?
The things that bind us, the things we strive to escape.
Yeah.
And then those moments of quiet contemplation, that can arise amidst chaos.
It's heavy stuff.
It is, but it's also really engaging, It encourages you to move beyond that immediate visual surface.
Right. It's not just about what you see.
Exactly. It's about what you think and feel.
So let's focus on one specific work.
Okay.
Stillife, which is analyzed in Zen and the art of enlightenment.
Right.
And in that YouTube video, within the frame, a meditation on chaos and renewal.
Oh, yeah, I remember that one.
This seems like a crucial piece for understanding his central themes.
It is. It really gets to the heart of his work.
So what's going on in this painting?
Well, it's contained within this wooden box,
Okay.
And it presents this almost miniature world.
Interesting.
A collection of these curious objects like
what?
Twisted organic forms a glass jar.
Uh-huh.
And anatomical heart books.
It's a strange mix.
It is. And the muted earthy tones really contribute to this particular atmosphere.
What kind of atmosphere?
It feels both intimate and slightly unsettling.
Okay, I can see that.
Yeah, it draws you in, but it also makes you a little uneasy.
And from a Zen Buddhist perspective,
right,
this chaotic arrangement becomes a meditation on the nature of reality and our attachments to things.
Exactly.
It's about impermanence and the idea that the mind itself is a kind of container.
Yeah, like a vessel that holds all our thoughts and experiences.
So the objects are like...
They're like the detritus of the material world.
And we cling to them.
We do.
And that's a potential source of suffering.
Right, because everything is impermanent.
Yeah.
And if we're attached to these things, we're going to suffer when they're gone.
And the box itself represents the mind, holding all those thoughts and experiences.
Exactly.
And there's this suggestion of a kind of emptying or detachment as a path towards enlightenment.
Letting go of those attachments.
So then you connect this to the I Ching hexagram coup, which means...
work on what has been spoiled.
Okay.
So it's about decay and stagnation and the necessity for renewal.
And those twisted forms in the painting, they could symbolize unresolved issues.
Yeah, those things we're holding on to.
And the heart and the jar could represent contained emotion.
Yes, all those feelings we keep bottled up.
So it's really interesting how those different frameworks, Zen philosophy and the I Ching, converge on similar ideas.
They do.
Of introspection and the potential for transformation.
Absolutely.
The painting becomes this visual representation of the need to confront our inner turmoil.
And move towards a state of healing or renewal.
So as you're listening to this description of the objects in the box and the interpretations around containment and inner turmoil, does it bring to mind any particular images or feelings from your own experiences?
It's hard not to connect it to your own life.
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking about times when I felt trapped or overwhelmed by my own thoughts.
Yeah, I think we've all been there.
The analysis also draws connections to surrealist artists like Ernst and Dali.
Oh, yeah.
And even the unsettling depictions of the human form in Bacon's work. So it's situating him within a broader artistic lineage.
Absolutely.
While still emphasizing his unique perspective.
Yeah, he's clearly in dialogue with these movements, exploring the subconscious and the complexities of the human condition.
But in his own way.
In his own distinctive way.
And the YouTube transcript offers another valuable perspective.
It does.
It reiterates the jar as a metaphor for mindfulness.
Right.
The scattered objects mirroring our own tangled thoughts, and the box as a dedicated space for introspection.
It's a powerful image.
And it emphasizes the beauty found in imperfection and the acceptance of impermanence.
Those are important concepts.
The video goes on to connect still life to this ongoing state of flux in human condition.
It's like we're constantly changing.
Yeah.
Evolving, growing, decaying.
The jar becomes this non-judgmental container.
Yeah, it just holds it all.
For all our experiences.
Good and bad.
And the heart acts as this reminder of our inherent vulnerability.
That we're all fragile in a way.
And then there's this idea of creativity as a process of uncovering, rather than simply inventing.
Yeah, it's not about creating something out of nothing.
It's about finding what's already there.
Exactly.
And that aligns perfectly with the painting's seemingly random, yet ultimately deliberate arrangement.
Yeah, it's like there's a method to the madness.
The jar becomes this portal to deeper truths.
I like that.
And the apparent disarray actually invites your own creative interpretation and engagement.
It makes you think.
It's so cool how those themes of decay, containment, and renewal that are so central to still life seem to resonate in other works mentioned in the video.
Oh, definitely.
Spaver Ancestor 2.
Right.
Spaver number 5.
Yeah.
And Sinuda.
It's this recurring tension between chaos and order.
Yeah, like they're always in conversation.
Exactly.
And still life really functions as this intimate, almost sacred space.
It does.
Where those opposing forces coexist, it's both a still life and a dynamic narrative.
Yeah, it's both static and in motion.
It's a mirror, reflecting the viewer's own inner world.
And that's the power of art, you know?
So, moving beyond still life, let's talk about some of his later series.
Sure.
Like the Scarecrows.
Oh, the Scarecrows.
Which were inspired by Gunter Grass.
Right, Gunter Grass.
You mentioned this possible Germanic symbolism of renewal and their evolution into these almost mythological figures, incorporating lobster and larva shells.
So he's exploring metamorphosis.
Exactly.
The shedding of the old and the emergence of the new.
This progression really highlights his continued exploration of the life cycle and the process of transformation.
Absolutely.
He starts with literary inspiration and then moves into this more symbolic and mythological realm.
It's fascinating to see that progression from the concrete to the abstract.
The Scarecrows.
Yeah.
These liminal figures existing between worlds.
They're not quite human.
Yeah.
But they're not quite something else either.
And then they evolve into these creatures. Undergoing significant change.
Yeah.
Further underscoring that central theme of change and becoming.
It's all about transformation.
And then there's his use of text.
Oh, yeah.
In his drawings. It's not just about providing information. It's potentially acting as disguises or even clues.
Like a puzzle.
Yeah, drawing parallels to Sherlock Holmes' mysteries.
Oh, wow.
And Tom Wolfe's The Painted Word.
That's interesting.
The idea that the words themselves are also visual shapes to be appreciated for their own meaning.
Yeah, it's like he's playing with language.
It's really cool.
It really challenges how we think about text in visual art.
Right. It goes beyond just conveying information.
Exactly.
It adds another layer of visual complexity and invites a more active and engaged interpretation.
You have to really look closely.
The words become part of the visual puzzle, adding to the mystery.
And inviting you to find your own meaning. That's very personal.
You also pointed out his unique drawing technique. One that's not defined by a traditional light source, but by a sense of movement created through cross-hatching.
Exactly.
And often incorporating deliberate corrections.
Yes.
And what he called extra data problems.
I love that term.
For the viewer to navigate.
It's like he's setting up these little challenges.
It really reinforces this idea of active engagement and a journey of self-discovery.
You're not just passively observing. You're part of the creative process.
And those corrections and extra data problems, those almost coded elements and visual traps are clearly intentional.
They are.
He wants to make the viewer question what they're seeing.
And arrive at their own understanding.
He even said that he wanted to remake Goya.
Remake Goya.
In 20th century terms.
Wow.
And that he preferred to maintain a certain level of mystery with his work.
Yeah, he even called it a game.
So he's consciously engaging
He is.
with the history of art while also pushing against its conventions.
He's a rebel.
He wants to keep that element of the unknown and the open-ended.
It's about keeping things fresh and surprising.
The game aspect
Yeah.
suggests this playful but serious approach to both creating and viewing art.
Art shouldn't be stuffy.
No, it should be fun.
But it should also make you think.
And when he says he wants to remake Goya in 20th century terms, in what specific ways do you see him engaging with Goya's themes or techniques?
Well, I think.
And where does he diverge to reflect the 20th century context?
Well, you see it in the way he uses those grotesque figures.
Yeah.
And the sense of social commentary.
But he's also bringing in these modern influences like surrealism and
abstract expressionism.
Exactly.
Pop art.
It's a unique blend.
It is.
We also shouldn't overlook his early engagement with social protest art and his later inspiration, drawn from artists like Cremoni and Etruscan figurines.
Those are some interesting influences.
It shows this really broad range of influences throughout his journey.
He was always learning.
Yeah.
Always evolving.
His artistic path was characterized by this constant process of absorbing and reinterpreting a diverse array of visual and cultural sources.
It's like he was constantly searching.
New ideas, new ways of seeing the world.
And as we mentioned earlier, his focus in the 1970s on transforming subjective, symbolic, and decorative functions into something more mystical.
Yeah. Exploring those themes of birth, death, and regeneration.
The big questions. The cycle of life.
And with that recurring imagery, puppets, scarecrows, skulls.
It's all very symbolic.
It points to this deep engagement with the cyclical nature of life and transformation.
And the literary influence, as you mentioned, Kizanzaki's and Gunter Grass.
They probably further enriched those explorations.
Oh, definitely.
So in terms of his later life, his decision in 1976 to leave academia.
He just walked away.
And embrace a nomadic existence.
It was a bold move.
As an artist.
Yeah.
Seems like a huge turning point.
It was a complete change of lifestyle.
He was funding his work through sales and commissions. And traveling extensively.
He was living the dream.
In a way.
In a way.
It speaks to this profound commitment.
It does.
To his artistic vision, a real willingness to step outside of conventional structures.
And embrace a more independent path.
And those travels undoubtedly broadened his perspective.
Oh, definitely.
And informed his creative output in new ways.
Traveling can be so inspiring.
The anecdotes about his move to the Oregon coast. And then Louisiana with his wife, Nancy. And the fading of contact with his Houston friends.
It's sad, but it also kind of adds to that enigmatic persona.
It does.
Like he was this mysterious figure.
It just disappeared.
Into the mist.
It reinforces this image of an artist who deliberately chose a different way of being. Maybe prioritizing his personal and artistic journey. Above maintaining those earlier connections.
He had to follow his own path.
Earl Staley's quote about their close friendship.
Oh, yeah.
And their collaborations.
B&E Productions and the holding firm.
It offers a more personal glimpse.
It does.
Into Camblin's life.
Yeah, Earl really knew him well.
And the detail about the Mr. Peanut costume.
Oh, yeah.
And occasionally signing his work.
As Mr. Peanut.
As Mr. Peanut and then anonymous.
That's classic Camblin.
It's just so wonderfully quirky. And revealing of his playful side.
It shows that he didn't take himself too seriously.